Hello and welcome to the best show that we have. You know what it is? It's Alphabetti Spaghetti and it's hosted by me. Already within, I would say, 7 words, Nicole has her head in her hands, which is unnecessary when the only reason is because she doesn't get to open a show. I am in Belgium. We're in Arville. We're out the back of our hotel. We're going to come to that in a moment. But I'm with a big crew. It's actually quite a good tour diary style Alphabetti. I've got Mark Ruddock, who you're going to hear on the dressage judging tomorrow and all across the weekend. Hi, Mark.
Good evening, afternoon, whatever. I don't know. I'm so tired. I don't know what time of day of the week it is.
We definitely have a tired crew. Steve is with us. Steve is generally, it's very hard to describe Steve's role other than he does absolutely everything to make event writers happen behind the scenes, event writer masters happen behind the scenes, whether it's cameras, whether it's going to get cables, whether it's putting up fences, looking after pregnant Nicole last year, looking after pregnant Emily, looking after pregnant Hannah.
He doesn't get us pregnant. He just looks after us. I feel like I just need to clarify that. He's just a really, really nice person that looks after us.
And he listens to the podcast. Steve, good to have you.
Nice to be here. Cheers, thanks.
Excellent. We've got Nicole Brown, who we'll come back to in a moment. We've got Jim O'Toole, who is the CEO of Event Writer Masters. Jim, a man who supports Man City, who is a great person to have leading us while we're at the Event Writer Masters legs. Jim, don't know that he listens to the podcast. Does? He's looking at me like he does.
I binged on 5 episodes during the week when I was working hard at home.
Excellent. And we have the 2019 intern. Not an easy position to get, but Sophie got it this year. So a role which sees her over dinner at 9:30 when she's meant to be having her dinner, stressed about what she has done and what she hasn't done. A hard worker, and delighted to have you on the show. Sophie, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Right. Well, we're getting underway. Alphabetti Spaghetti. Nicole, I think the only place to start is you're very tired. And to be honest, you're a little bit frazzled and stressed. And you've been wondering about going to bed. Now, I want you to talk to the listeners about, you're not going to bed alone tonight because because it didn't work for you last night. So talk us through.
Oh no, I knew you were going to come on to this. We're staying in a really nice hotel. Lovely food. It's absolutely fine. It's on a fairly interesting road in Belgium. You drive past about 3, how would you describe them? Establishments where you can purchase a lady in the window.
Not a plastic lady. A real lady.
Apparently a real lady, yes. We did slow down and have a look as we went past, I'm not going to lie. Anyway, so it's you get the picture of the area, and it's a fairly normal hotel. And then I am in the attic by myself in a room that kind of doesn't lock properly, that you can open, and there's just like a flimsy chain that kind of locks it from the inside. And I was okay when I went to bed last night. I lasted about an hour and a half, then woke up feeling a little bit twitchy and tried to persuade myself that I was just being a bit neurotic. Thought, I know what I'll do. I'll text Jenny Autry because it's still evening time in America. And she replied, and her words were, do you think it's haunted? Well, thanks, Jenny. I didn't think it was haunted, no, but now I do. I was just slightly worried of who might stumble across the room. But I do now slightly worry that it could be haunted. So anyway, I eventually managed to kind of sort myself out, pull myself together, and thought, nope, come on, sort it out. Went to sleep, woke up within 20 minutes having an epic nightmare, screaming, woke myself up. I was screaming so loud. So anyway, that was my evening. Hence why, if I stumble, listeners, over my words, it's like my tongue is about 5 sizes too big for my mouth. I have no idea what I'm saying. It's a good job Derm's in charge because I'll be a liability. But that was my evening. So in terms of not sleeping alone tonight, Sam Albert, who is just an eventing legend and is like my mummy on the Event Writer Masters, said that I can go and sleep in her twin room with her. So I literally jumped at the chance. I was like, yep, no worries, see you there. So yes, that was my evening. And that's why Derm is in charge. And I'm just gonna pass it back to you, Dee. All yours.
Normally you're so controlled, but I must say when I saw Nicole today, she was fried. And then she came out for a little chat with me at 7 o'clock there, where she genuinely looked pretty scared. So, like, I'm not over-egging this, but yeah, she was frightened. Okay, F. It is another Alphabetti Spaghetti. So you guys sort of know the rules. For any new listeners, what we do is we go through the alphabet and we get everybody to send us in your questions. So it's on the Flick group for any listeners who aren't on there. So you download the Flick app and you search for Eventing Podcast, and there's lots of talk that goes on through competitions, lots of behind the show notes, lots of pictures of when we're recording, lots of writers put up show notes in there. So that's where everyone sends in their questions. So there's a thread on Alphabetti Spaghetti, and that's where people put in their questions. The first question of Manny, and this was probably the best one because I call out, the guests don't really know what's coming up, but I always give them the first one just so they don't get a complete shock. And the first one I picked was from Alex, and it is fit riders ? I was going to say Foxy. We're definitely going to come back to Foxy and Foxy Watson in a little while, but fit event riders. Mark, I think I'm going to start with you.
You would, wouldn't you?
Fit event riders. So take it as you wish.
Right. Well, so fit event riders, you can actually fancy somebody because they're actually really good at riding, but actually they're not a picture, really. They're not a pin-up. So, can I, like, William Fox-Pitt is the sexiest person, but I would not have a picture of him. But he is really hot because he is one of the best riders.
So you mean if you saw him
In a gay club.
if you saw him, well, I mean, if you saw him walking down the street.
I mean, imagine if you saw William Fox-Pitt in a gay club.
No.
No.
Even that's beyond me. But I mean, if you saw him walking down the street, you're saying no. But if you're seeing him post dressage test,
No, cross country, and just like you'd be
Cross-country.
like, yeah, you could take me, William.
I don't know if I should have started with you. Fit event riders, Nickers. We were having this chat earlier, and do you agree with Mark? I mean, are we able to go with? There is certain people. I mean, we know like the Hare, who we talk about on this a lot. He's a very good-looking man. Are there people that we would say are hotter because of their ability in the saddle?
Yeah, I don't think I've ever sort of taken Mark's view on this, that when they go cross country, I just want to dump them. I mean, honestly, Mark, you are made me speechless. I would say that yes, I guess it is a very attractive quality in another half, that they're very, very talented at what they do. Fit event riders, there's a few, aren't there? You know, there's a few that the girls absolutely love. Ben Hobday's always popular.
What about the uniforms? I'm thinking.
God, a uniform.
I'm thinking. I can see hands going up around the table. I mean, we've got. I mean, all the Italians is a great one. So, like, any of the Italian riders, they are particularly striking at trot ups in particular when we see them, or in the dressage arena, male or female. Giovanni, very good looking man. Giovanni would be right up there for me.
When you judge and someone takes their cap off and salutes. Yeah.
You take
You take note.
Steve,
Everybody join
You
the
ready,
army,
Steve?
join the police now.
fit event riders.
Must be the uniforms. Got again Italians, so
Are you basically saying Vittorio Panizon?
basically saying Victoria Palace.
Okay, thought so.
Yeah, I can't argue. Sophie, I need who would be the girl crush of Event Rider Masters? But there's a twist to the question. I'm going to give you three big names. You've got Chris Burton, a notoriously beautiful man, or a famously beautiful man, I should say. You have got Tim Price, because he's the world number one. Or we'll go with fan favourite Ben Hobday.
Well, if I'm being perfectly honest, they're all a little old for me. However, I think I'd probably have to go with Tim Price. Yeah.
Good choice.
Yeah.
You talked about this earlier, Nicole. Tim Price?
Well, he's just so nice, isn't he? And he's so lovely and funny. But I won't lie, I'd never take on Janelle. You can have him, Janelle. It's okay.
She would eat you for breakfast, Knickers. She would eat you for breakfast.
I think a dodgy hotel room would be the least of my problems.
I think you're right. I think that is probably who you were having nightmares about last night. Okay, fit event writers done. Fit event writers done.
I had a lot more, but we weren't.
I actually I'm afraid to come back to you, to be honest.
I want the ones that are fit. Okay.
Okay, next one in. Actually, you can have the next one in, Mark, because this takes me back into a safer territory with you. Deborah has put flying changes. Now, you will know that this is the only part of a dressage test that I understand. A couple of people, Catherine Austin, very helpfully emailed me after one of our recent shows to tell me some other random expressions that I can use to say, like, you know, it would have been a great test if they were just a little bit more through from behind. You know, like things like that nobody really understands what you can say to them. Yeah. So I've been talking a little bit on the pod about the how I'm able to say things like, you know, a flying change being a crucial part of a test. But you can help us understand, as our resident dressage expert, how important are those flying changes in the overall test?
Well, they're very important because it's a sign of the quality of the canter, the obedience of the horse, the how responsive it is to the aids. But with the event horses, because they're so fresh and so fit, that actually they can overreact to the flying change aid, and they think it's really exciting. And I don't know why they think it's so exciting, because they gallop around the field doing flying changes all day long. But they do sometimes get in a test and like, what the is that you've just asked me to do? It's something I do when I'm loose, but it's a real it's a submission thing. That's another submission, you see. Not a nice word, really, but that could lead us into the brothels.
They do. Now tell me this again. Do they do this like in a field, or like do they do it by accident? And like sometimes you see them doing it outside of a test, but then when they're in a test, it's under pressure, and it's when you ask for it, it's different, is it?
Yeah, because you would think it would be the most natural thing in the world. As from foals, they canter across the field and they change legs because it's their balance, because they don't want to fall over. But it seems to be it's their only sort of it's that moment where they're sort of quite pent up and they're quite fresh and they're in, or quite sharp and they're wound up at a show, that actually just overreact and become a little bit hysterical. And riders get a little bit in their heads about them, and then it becomes all a bit of a tense nightmare. And you know,
I have a question. Okay, go on, Jim.
Sorry, can I just be clear, Mark? When you say dressage test, what exactly do you mean?
A dressage test is it's not nice, actually. Right, a dressage test is a sign of a horse's training and its obedience to actually listen and do what's required of it.
That was a test. That was a test from the CEO there across the table. Steve, would you spot a flying change in a test now at this stage?
Yeah, I'm quite lucky, really. My horse is flying changes when I don't want him to do flying changes. Yeah. So he's developed enough. He's an ex-show jumper, so he learned to do flying changes at quite a young age, which is very good for show jumping. Not so good for eventing, because we don't want to do flying changes at the level I'm competing at currently. So it's all good, though.
Mark, would that be a point that in eventing, flying changes are taught later than perhaps in other disciplines?
So I think the main problem is, like Steve said, his horse was a show jumper, so it actually doesn't ever have to do counter-canter, which is cantering on the lead. So that's a natural thing, but when they're up to advanced, they don't do flying changes, so we train them not to do flying changes. So then one day we go, you know that thing you were told off for when you did it at 4, and I used to give out to you about it, now I'd like you to do it. And that's where the little bit of the stress comes in, because they'll be like, I don't want to be in trouble. So yeah, so I would train horses to do them as a young horse and put them away so it's in there, and then get the counter-canter, and then when you come back to them, they're like, oh, okay, I remember this.
Okay, good point. What's next, Dee?
Okay, so next up is, actually quite a few things in from fantasy. One is from Jenny. So a few people have asked to discuss fantasy eventing. One of the ways I think that's actually a good way of discussing this is, let's imagine, so there is 6 of us here. I want us to pick a team for Tokyo. Everybody gets to pick one horse and rider combination. We're going to pick, actually we'll pick 2 teams. This side of the table, so me, Steve and Mark, against Jim, Knickers and Sophie. And 2 teams, but you can only pick one team per country. You can only pick one combination per country. Okay. And that's around the whole table. So the same combination. So, for example, if I pick Laura Collett, Mr. Bass, that means no one else at the table can pick a British rider.
Oh, what?
Yeah, that's the way it's working, Nickers. So it's our side of the table against your side of the table.
That's what it's starting with, isn't it?
I mean, I'd be silly to start anywhere else. Yeah, I'm going with Chuck. I'm going with Laura, and I think they will be a good team captain for us, Nickers.
Wow, Dee. That is a brutal, brutal role. You've stolen the Brits. It is a dagger through my heart. Jim, Sophie, I'm going to just throw one in because I know it's going to be a dagger to Dee's heart. He's a multiple Olympian. He's won 3 Olympic golds previously. He's riding one of the most exciting young horses in the world at the moment. Andrew Hoy, Vasily de Lassos. Bye-bye Australia. You can't have Chris Burton now. Bye, Dee.
Australia's a big loss to us. Mark or Steve, who has an idea for our team? We have Germany in hand. We have New Zealand in hand.
I'm going to go for Ireland.
I'm just telling you that we've got Germany, New Zealand still.
Steve have.
No, because they're going next.
Okay. Don't forget Sam. Right. I will have Michael Young on Chipmunk.
Okay, big shout, big shout.
Okay, so the Germans, the Brits and the Aussies are gone. Jim, I'm going to let you pick the next one.
I'd go Tim Price and Wesco.
New Zealand are out. Okay. Go on then, Dee.
Well, it's Steve.
Oh, I say it's Steve's turn. Who are you going to pick? He's no clue.
No, he does.
Go on, you've got a few ideas. Who have we got left? Sweden, the United States, we've got Italy, we've got France.
Ireland.
Everybody's saying Sam Watson.
It's got to be Sam Watson. It's got to be Sam Watson.
Danny.
Oh, yeah.
Talibeg, Flamenco, Arda Highlight, Arda Highlight.
Sam Watson and I'd highlight. It's got to be Sam Watson.
Okay, so let's just...
We're talking about flamenco over here, are we?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, there's flamenco. There's a bid for flamenco instead.
No, flamenco is going to be the next year. I can tell you. It's the bee's knees. Yeah, Sam and Franco for Tokyo.
Oh God, we're going flamenco. Okay, Danny. So that's Sam Watson's big dun horse.
Yeah.
It's an interesting one, isn't it? So I mean, call it Sam going to get on well, and Michael Young. Yeah, I think that's a strong team.
Strong team. All good jumpers.
Interesting team. Very interesting team.
First phase, I think we're sorted. I mean, I'm just looking at the other table here and the other side of the table, and they are panicking. They are panicking. Sophie, we've got a strong team, and it is coming to you, and you are going to be ready soon. Okay, I'm going to suggest flamenco is someone whose dressage is getting better and better all the time. He's going to be, he's going to be stepping up. I mean, even though, like that 5-star at Lamulin has laid down a big marker in terms of their cross country clears, but I still think to not let our team down, their dressage needs to continue in the way that it's going. So it's coming down and
make it better. We will make it better.
Okay, Mark Ruddick is committed to Danny's dressage. I'm happy with that. So Michael Young, Laura Collett, Sam Watson representing our side of the table. Are we ready on that side? So who have we got so far?
So far, we have got Andrew Hoy, Vasily de Lassos from Australia. We've got Tim Price and Wesco for New Zealand. And Sophie is going to give us our third combination.
So I'm going to go for Tim Lips and Biro for the Netherlands.
Oh, I like that. That's a smart one because they're very competitive. Reigning Dutch national champions. Very good in all 3 phases. That's a very good shout. Okay, pressure's on. So you've got one more pick, Dee, in your fantasy Olympic team.
We'll confer this one.
Are you conferring?
Final pick.
American.
So it's America, isn't it? Let's not be silly. Or Canada. Big fan of Dana Cook at the moment. She's coming through with Mississippi. What are those? You're not sure. Neither of you are ready. You don't know as much about Canadian eventing as I do, but I'll listen to you two. Okay, so America you want?
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about America. Who from America? I'm thinking, if we're going to pick anyone, we're thinking about someone who probably should have been in the fit event riders category. I'm thinking maybe Boyd Martin.
I was going for Boyd Martin.
Yeah, we're going for Boyd Martin,
and he's fit.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going. I mean, we have a very good-looking team as well, don't we?
Yeah. We are.
Boyd Martin and sexy legs, sexy legs. Boyd Martin. Yeah. Okay, so sexy legs, Boyd Martin, Sam Watson, Tullabeg Flamenco, Laura Collett, Mr. Bass, and Michael Young and
Chipmunk.
Fisher Chipmunk.
Yeah.
FST.
Will do.
I mean, I think
FST.
I reckon we'll be a world record breaking score winning margin.
I reckon that no one's getting near us.
No.
I think you've forgotten one very, very important country. We've been talking about them so much on the Eventing podcast. It's their home Olympic Games. We are obviously going to pick a Japanese combination as our final combination. The question would be, guys, Jim, Sophie, who do we pick? Yoshiaki Iowa, Kaya 44, secured the best ever Japanese finish at a 5-star at Lemulin at the weekend. So we've got him. We've got Ryutsu Kitajima, Seka Tinker, who need to get their qualification, but actually, you know, the horse was top 10 at the Worlds last year with Tim Price. We've got Tacoma Dorsey, Toshiyuki Tanaka, top 10 at Po last year. I'm going to let you guys pick. You're shaking your head, Jim. Sophie, do you want to pick of those?
No, I'm nodding.
You're nodding. You're agreeing.
Oh, I think it's Yoshi.
Yoshi, good choice. Sophie, agree?
Yeah, I'd go for Yoshi as well.
Okay, Yoshiaki Iowa, Kaya 44. They are our 4th team members. So we have got, let's recap, Andrew Hoy, Vasily de Lassos. We have Tim Price, Wesco. Who was our 3rd team member? Tim Lips, Biro for the Netherlands. That was it. And we have Yoshiaki Iowa, Kaya 44. Put it to a poll.
Yeah.
Put it to a poll. Go on, team. We will write this down. We'll put it up on Facebook. And you Eventing podcast listeners can let us know which team you think will win. And why. And if you want to send in your fantasy teams, we would love to hear from them as well.
Okay, so the next question. This is an interesting one, and it needs a little bit of prep. So one of the questions which came in from friend of the show, Emily Mumford, was FEI World Games and their future. So it is a talking point at the moment, primarily because the venues have come out for the bid countries for the FEI World Games, and that is 2022. And I'm pleased to announce that one of them is Ireland. It's Mill Street. But there is, we are up against it a little bit, because we have seen in the press release from the FEI that there is going to be, I suppose, still a favouritism shown to trying to keep the games together to some degree. So the multi-bids are still going to be looked upon more favourably. I don't really know what that means yet, and we don't have time on this show to discuss it. This is not the point. But the eventing bids are Mill Street in Ireland, Pratoni in Rome, and Pratoni is in a joint bid with Verona. Verona, home to Valpolicella Ripasso and lots of other great wines for people who want that little bit of education almost up
and
there.
An amazing opera.
And opera, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, well done, team.
Yeah.
Or Saudi Equestrian Federation in Riyadh. So, where would you guys like to see the 2022 World Games? For me, an Italian adventure or an Irish adventure in eventing. I think both of them would be special.
I just have a feeling that we could be all jetting off to Saudi Arabia, because they would put on an amazing show. They've invested heavily in show jumping in particular in the last few years. I just think that it would be something very, very different.
My issue is cross country. How do you run cross country in a hot country like that? Do you have massive floodlights? Do you do it run it at night? Do you run it during the day? That's my only problem.
Floodlit cross country.
That would be an interesting thing, wouldn't it? Floodlighting the cross country course all the way through in Saudi Arabia to run it at night. So you do the dressage, you do the show jumping, and then you run the cross country during the night to keep the horses nice and cool.
I mean, imagine the training that would go into that, because everybody before they go to Saudi Arabia, if they know they're training at night, they're competing at night, they're going to do all of their training programs in the middle of the night.
Well, you'd be stupid not to, wouldn't you? How would you train for that back at home, though? It'd be loads of floodlit cross-country schools popping up around the country.
Good God. I mean,
there was some event years ago that they did morning cross-country, then evening cross-country because of the heat. But my biggest stumbling block is event riders, alcohol, Saudi Arabia, no. End of.
Jim, Ireland, Rome / Verona. Well, it would be Rome really for eventing. I presume it's Pratoni. I've heard great things about from Giuseppe about what's going on in Pratoni at the moment, and or the Saudi adventure. Which are you taking us on 2022?
look, ultimately, in bid situations like this, the money talks. And I'm quite sure, as Steve said, that Saudi Arabia would put on a phenomenally well-funded and well-thought-out proposition. But if there's one thing about Mill Street, Thomas Duggan his father, Noel C. Duggan, put on a Eurovision Song Contest in what was in effect a big shed in his back garden. So it's all improved somewhat since then. It'd be a hell of a show there, and they would put on a tremendous experience for everybody. But I suspect, if it's not the money, the reality would probably be Rome and Verona. Would be my bet.
Sophie, 2022, you'll probably be about 20. What are you thinking? Floodlit cross country in Saudi? I mean, Steve just decided that. I don't. That's not actually part of their official bid. Ireland, Rome. Where would you like to see the games?
Well, I've heard the parties are pretty good in Mill Street, so I'm going for that one.
I think that's a good call. I think we'd all like to see an Irish one on our side. Nicole is telling me two more, but Nicole, you don't get to decide that, I'm afraid. We're close to the end of Alphabetti Spaghetti. It's been a good one. Okay, so we've got a few choices here, so I want someone to shout when you're ready. Okay, Spike, friend of the show. Oh, he just actually put dangerous with Foxy Event Riders, and that turned out to be dangerous.
Hang on, Spike, friend of the show. Spike's on the show. He's part of the show. He's not just a friend, D.
Yeah, but I mean, Spike's been an incredible hit on. I mean, he's been one of our biggest 2019 successes, I think.
Yeah, I think he has been. And there's been a lot of people inquiring about JD, his dog, after the story on the podcast a couple of episodes ago, and JD is happily retired now.
Never met the guy, but he's got a great voice. Could we use him on ARM presentation? He's got a tremendous voice and great content.
That is a marker laid down from the head honcho. Jim O'Toole is calling out Spike DeVette for ERM work. Spike, we'll be in Mill Street. We might see you there. Okay. Elin, another friend of the show, and also friend to... Yeah?
Is it Elin or Ellen?
Well, I think we'll know who Elin's friend will be after she hears that little comment from you.
Oh. Sorry.
Okay, Elin has put up what I think is quite an interesting one, F for fashion. So let's talk about those trot-ups. And we've talked about the Italian event riders. They always stand out. Who remembers best or worst trot-up moments, best or worst fashion trot-up moments? We had Gemma on the show talking about tights falling down. We had lots of things. But Steve, you want one?
It's got to be Paul Tapner. Got to be Paul Tapner. He always puts a lot of effort in. He's now a semi-retired event rider, but he puts a lot of it. Very interesting shirts, very interesting clothing combinations. He's always very smart for all his 5-star trot-ups, so very good.
Yeah, Tapas doesn't actually mess about when it comes to a trot-up. I'll actually give a shout out Kieran Glynn. Also, I'm not going to call you a friend of the podcast, Kieran, seeing as you're on the podcast. He always puts a lot of effort into his trot-up outfits, so yeah. Stylish man.
Yeah. Jardy 2018, Oliver Townend dressed himself.
Oh, God.
Rather than the lady who normally looks after him.
He'd basically packed his own bags.
Yeah. There is photographic evidence on our Twitter feed. I think beach shorts, I think you could call them. Yeah. Outstanding.
Well, I always think the girls do us proud, and Laura Collett, Gemma Tattersall, Izzy Taylor, they're always looking very chic.
I just need to go back to the Paul Tapner thing, right? Because when Paul and I...
Do you still want a job this weekend?
Well,
be careful here.
Paul said that he had quite a gay following, and I did say to him, when you wear those clothes, you're gonna. So, he's wearing, he's like becoming a gay icon, and he's feeding it.
He knows what he's up to.
But for worst dress, Sam Watson's shoes at WEG, deck shoes in 2 foot of rain.
No, he was no, they're dupes. DuBarry's.
No, he wore deck shoes in the final trot-up.
DuBarry's.
There were deck shoes though.
Yes. Sponsored Team Ireland.
But they must have bigger boots than deck shoes.
No, we have an outfit. So Ireland don't let our riders pick for themselves on trot-ups. Well, I guess apart from maybe Kieran Glynn, who you're a fan of Glinner. I could hear you were shouting fit in my ear when Nicole was talking about his style. Apart from that, yeah, I mean, Sam is very traditional, kind of that, that kind of Cheltenham tweed look. the easy way out. And like Harry Mead and Sam Griffiths go for that as well, but they always pair it with a brightly coloured trouser. And what I must say now about those two is that with the first time I saw Harry Mead, I think I've said this somewhere else before, I wouldn't be caught dead in those trousers.
Canary.
But turns out, and Sam Griffiths put a good picture up on his Facebook recently, that actually they set a bit of a trend. Those like lime green things he wore at badminton a couple of years ago. For me,
With who though? Trend with who?
I don't know, like parts of kind of those equestrian villages in the UK. I don't know, High Street, London, somewhere. Yeah, somewhere. Tweed and lime trousers. I mean, for me, that would win.
One person I would say, if you've never watched her at a trot up, always go and take a look. Sarah Bullimore always looks absolutely amazing, and her wardrobe just incredible. Wardrobe envy every single time. She looks brilliant. She could wear a black bin bag and would look brilliant, but yeah, absolutely style icon for me. Dee, go on. What have we got next on Alphabetti Spaghetti? The letter F, because my bed is calling. I've got my my parent to look after me. I need to catch up on my beauty sleep.
Your mother might be in bed.
Well, yes, she is. That's the point. So I'm going to be the unruly child that sort of crashes back into the room and she'll regret and send me back to the attic all by myself where nobody will hear me scream.
Okay. Last one. It is, I'm going to give you a choice. And we always end with event writers. I'm going to give you a male and a female. I want you to go where you want with it, so you can talk a little bit about, I think I went off on a bit of a tangent on a recent show about the influence one of them has had, but I think both of them, fair to say, are inspirational writers and legends, I suppose. Is not too big a word to use about them, but you've got Pippa Funnell and you've got William Fox Pitt. You can talk about them as you wish, but you've got, at the end, I want you to pick one of them for your pick between the two. But that's only to make it interesting. Both of them legends. Mark, I'll start with you. William Fox Pitt.
Well, I've discussed William at length, haven't I? Really?
You love
yeah.
William.
Yeah, so I'm moving on.
Hard choice. Quite new to eventing. So both them are quite large legends in the sport, so it's quite hard to choose between either one of them. They've done quite a lot for the sport, so you've got William, who's been world number one, you've got Pippa, who's won the Grand Slam, so I don't know, it's a very hard choice. I don't know if I can actually pick between them.
Yeah, Pippa Funnell won the Grand Slam in 2003. We've spoken about it on the pod actually, because her record around the sort of 2002, 2003, 2004 era was just absolutely phenomenal. And William, I think I'm right in saying, Dee, William Fox Pitt has won more 5 stars as they are now than any other rider. I think he's won 14. Is it? Yeah, you're giving me the thumbs up. So, to be honest, between the two of them, both complete and utter legends. For the fact that he has won more 5 stars than any other rider, 14 is absolutely huge. I'm going to say William for me. Sophie, we're going to finish off with you. Who do you prefer? A bit before your time. Were you born in 2000?
Yes, I was. 1998.
Only just.
No, they're both incredible riders, and I think it's amazing that they're the age they are. Not being rude, but and they've been at the top of the sport for such a long time. But I think I'd have to go with Pippa Funnell.
That was very decisive. Dee, it's been emotional.
Yeah, it's been emotional. Okay, well, that's the end of Alphabetti Spaghetti. So, and the main reason we have to end it now is because Nicole needs to go to bed, and Sam Albert has already gone to bed, and we don't want an episode like last night to happen to poor old Knickers again, where she woke up shaking in her boots. Tomorrow we have a big day. Tomorrow is our veal. By the time this is out, well, hopefully we actually will be able to get this out over the weekend. But what we'll be looking to see, if you're able to tune in for the Event Rider Masters this weekend, what we'll be looking to see is tomorrow's going to be the dressage. You will probably know by the time you hear this where people are sitting, but I would be suggesting you've got to be sub 30 if you want to do anything at our veal. You are going to be in a very, very rare category if you knock a pole and go on to win, so you're going to probably need to jump clear too, which I would suggest means you've got to be sub 30 going into the final phase on Sunday. Now this event, and a couple of you might be able to mention it now, very briefly, Nicole, I can see you rolling your eyes at me, but this is one of the toughest or the lowest jumping clear rates in Europe at our veal. Last year we only saw 58% jump clear. That's very, very low for an event rider masters leg. Top 3 toughest that we saw. Only 2 people made the time last year. Nobody had made the time ever before at this leg. I think for me this is all about Sunday. We've got to get ourselves a platform tomorrow, but this is all about Sunday, and I think Sunday potentially, having not walked the course yet, is going to be one of the best cross-country days we've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah, I'd agree actually. I sent a couple of videos to the Flick group, which you can join, just search Eventing Podcast. Nice little plug there. When I was walking the course this morning, and it is tough. Tough. The first 10 fences, it is big, it's technical, it's twisty, it's turny. You can't take any risks, but riders are going to be taking risks because they're chasing the time. If you get through the first 10 fences, you will be then very gutted to have a problem later on in the course. You'll just be chasing the clock. I actually think this is one of the trickier cross-country tracks we've seen. Rudiger Schwartz has done a great job. Their new water complex in Arville is absolutely brilliant. Looking forward to it. Tune in eventridermasters.tv. I know, Diarm, you've gone all in on Chris Burton. He's going to be the one to beat. How close is he going to be to the leaders after the first 2 phases is my question. But watch this space. Tune in eventridermasters.tv. But for now, I'm going to pass you back to Dee because he's not going to let me close off. And listeners, I'll see you very soon.
You will never understand the pain in her face as she has to pass that back, where she can't close the show and I get to do my rambling close, which doesn't really mention social media, but you know where to find us, which doesn't mention the Flick group, but you know how to find us there too. You'll see us on eventridermasters.tv this weekend, and thanks for joining. It's been another episode of the best show that we have, Alphabetti Spaghetti.